Hey guys, this is really exciting. The Rocky 4 Ultimate Director's Cut Rocky vs. Drago trailer just got released today, and I cover a lot of Sylvester Stallone content on the channel. It would be kind of a crime if I did not cover this. So I'm going to do one of those reaction type videos and break down the trailer, but it won't be like those typical YouTube reaction videos where the guys are like overacting or they seem coked out of their mind or they're on like a gallon of coffee or something. Mine's going to be real. I might have a giddy-ass smile on my face, but that's how can you not get excited about Rocky 4? But I'm going to pause throughout and kind of break down and analyze certain things. Now, with that said, I have mixed feelings on this because Rocky 4 is cinematic perfection. You can't make perfection. You can't make something like that better. But we're going to get more of it in a different, cut and look at it. So that's good. That's good. I'm pretty excited that it's going to go to the theaters. But I trust Stallone. If anyone else cut this, I wouldn't trust it. But since Stallone is basically the guy that did it, I think it's going to be fantastic. So with that said, let's check it out.
Russia will now throw its hat into the ring.
I've seen this Drago fight.
Drago is a super athlete.
I know I can beat him.
Well, it's kind of funny when the Russian guy mentions that Drago is a super athlete, and then they immediately cut to the shot of the steroids. So it kind of takes away from, obviously Drago and Dolph Lundgren have amazing genetics, but just kind of takes away from that, and just it's more like he's a monster, an experiment, and he's on these drugs, and that's why he's a super athlete. At least that's what I got from that cut in the trailer. Yeah, the guy trains like a beast, but in the first Rocky 4, he doesn't have a lot of lines of dialogue either, so it's almost like he's dehumanized, and it's kind of like I mentioned, he's almost like a monster in this. He's a super athlete, but it's because he's drugged up and he's just trained all the time, right?
Hey, pal, look, maybe the show is over.
You got nothing more to prove.
He thinks he's fighting for the whole country, but his reasons are wrong.
See right there with her line, and that's a new line. I don't think fighting for the whole country is necessarily a wrong reason. It's kind of like why we used to have the Olympics. I know a lot of stuff that happened in this Olympic event. People didn't really seem like they wanted to represent the country. So anyway, it's kind of taking that anti-nationalistic view. Obviously, Rocky 4, and I don't know how this cut's going to be, but the trailer kind of alludes to that, whereas, in Rocky 4, it was really you against you, right? Talking about the warrior might as well be dead if he doesn't have a fight.
I'm asking, as a friend. Stand in my corner. Just this one last time.
I did not come here to lose.
Perhaps this simple defeat will be a perfect example of how pathetic your society has become.
That Russian guy back in the mid-'80s had it right. Can you imagine what he would say or think nowadays? People can't even take criticism. We've become extremely weak. Every generation gets weaker. It's kind of sad and kind of pathetic in a lot of ways, but this guy was saying that in the 80s. He'd be turning over in his grave these days.
You're my friend.
I should stop this fight.
Hey, don't do this to me.
I cannot be defeated.
Somebody get a doctor in here!
Soon, whole world will know my name. Drago. Drago.
Yeah, we definitely know his name. I'm sure people still go up to Dolph Lundgren calling him Drago 35 years later. Such an iconic character. People will always associate Dolph Lundgren with Drago, just like they do Stallone with Rocky or Rambo. Everybody knows Drago. Hell, the name Rocky 4, Rocky versus Drago, it's in the title now. What a cool character, man. But it's interesting that, he's got a lot more dialogue, because I think it humanizes him more. And he's not just this, experiment, this monster that the Russia created during the Cold War to beat us, right? And to make us look bad. But that's probably what Stallone was going after, to kind of humanize Drago more. Which he did, if you think about it, in Creed 2, which is essentially Rocky 4 Part 2, amazing film. but it is kind of cool to see Drago get some more lines in this one.
I let it happen.
I gotta take everything he's got.
He's had one professional fight, and one man is dead.
It's suicide.
It's really exciting that there's new scenes. I mean, any footage that was on the cutting room floor, and I'm sure there was a lot of it. If you think about it, Rocky IV was such a lean film. What was it, maybe like an hour and a half with a third of it montages? But that's the thing. The 80s and 90s were the era of the best montages ever. Rocky IV, in my opinion, still by far has the best training montages ever. Such an amazing soundtrack. I listen to it in the gym all the time. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. But if you're ever not motivated to train, just pop in Rocky IV. Watch one of the training montages. And I'd be shocked if you don't get your butt in the gym.
Side. You can't win.
There's gonna be a time when you're gonna have to do things that other people don't think are right, but they're gonna be right for you. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Has the fight been set yet?
It's in Russian.
Voted the greatest fight. I'll have to agree with that. As much as I love Van Damme and like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, and some other films, I think Rocky IV, just like the pacing and the energy and the intensity, it's insane, man. It's probably like the greatest fight of the 20th century, even though it's, a movie. If you talk about like real fights and movie fights, and there's a lot of really great real fights and movie fights, Rocky IV, I agree with that. It's the greatest fight ever, by far. And we're going to get more of it. How cool is that? Oh, by the way, it's such an epic score, man. So I love the score in Rocky IV, the non-director's cut, the regular version, right? We all have seen 100 times. Love that score, but I like what they're doing here. It's kind of got that nostalgic feel and sound, and it's kind of like updated, though. So if anything, I will just add this to my playlist when I play the original Rocky IV songs to just add more to it.
All your strength, all your power, all your love, everything you've got.
You know what to do. Do it.
He's not a machine. He's a man. Be more man than him.
I must break you.
You know, I'd be curious to see how they make Apollo look in that first fight, because he just got killed. At the end of the day, Apollo's a great fighter, so even if he is a little rusty and his legs are rubbery, I hope he puts up a better fight in this one, and they don't make him look as bad compared to Dolph Lundgren. That took away a little of the believability if you think about it, because it's not like Rocky didn't train hard for his fight against Apollo in Rocky 1 and 2, and he barely beat him in 2, and then Apollo, obviously trained him in 3, and then they kind of had their little fight afterwards, just by themselves, and Apollo kind of still see that he's got it, and he clocked Stallone, Rocky good in the eye. So it's not like he's in bad shape or that rusty, so the fact is that he just got pummeled like nothing, and then the fact that Rocky could beat Drago took away a little of the believability, but, it does add to the dramatic conflict and things.
Rocky is in serious trouble.
Breathe. Don't be scared.
Get up, you son of a bitch.
All those fighters you beat him with heart.
See, that's really cool. Obviously, they couldn't do this when they first released Rocky IV, because they're taking some stuff from Rocky V, like Get Up, You Son of a Bitch, because Mickey Loves You. One of my favorite parts of Rocky V, putting that in here, and then some other stuff. It's going to be incredible, man. It's probably going to have one of, like, the coolest montages, I would assume, in history. Like, Rocky IV's already got a couple of them, like when he's driving his Lamborghini and shifting like 100 times. And they're playing clips from Rocky 1, 2, and 3. I hope they have something similar and new and fresh in this one. Create like another one of those ultimate montages.
Get up! Get up!
Get up.
Man, how cool is that? Unforgettable one night only Phantom in Theater event. It's like a real sport or a boxing match. You know how they have that in Fathom Theater sometimes? It's like we get one chance to watch it. It's like watching it live. So I'm gonna be there. Let me know if you guys are gonna watch it, what your thoughts are on the trailer. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, I didn't see the robot at all in the trailer, so I think Stallone, with what he mentioned, he was going to send the robot to the scrap heap. He held up that end of the promise and statement. I guess this cut is more serious. We can't have any, like, robot girlfriends in the movie for Polly. Oh, click here or here, and you could see, like, how Stallone and Dolph Lundgren built their Rocky IV bodies. I did a whole breakdown videos on that. So check those out. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe because I give you a lot of Stallone content, a lot of Van Damme content, a lot of 80s, 90s type content. So with all that said, see you guys next time.